What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Shadowlands video. I hope you're all doing very well. Grab those coffees. Let's talk about some more Survival Hunter. Let's make sure the gnomes are okay. They're not even in the shot. Hold on. Shimmy. Shimmy gnomes. There we go. All right, they're in the shot now. They're feeling left out. All right. Let's talk about some Survival Hunter. We're continuing the series here. Tonight I'm going to be doing more enhancement shaman stuff. Don't worry, we haven't abandoned the shaman or anything. I've actually been healing a bunch on the shaman, and it's really fun, but that's been the only way I've been able to get into some keys lately. So we'll see. I'm going to try and get in as DPS tonight, but we'll see how that goes. Bottom line is, Survival Hunter today, and we are looking at Necro. We did a +10 Plaguefall. Now, for context here, here's the DPS breakdown. It's actually just really cool. Like, Explosive Shot does so much damage. I'll talk about that in a minute. There was another Survival Hunter in here, and my item level right now is only 236. He's like 265, I think, or around there, and has the 4 set. I do not have my 4 set yet, which is really where all the damage comes from the set. So just keep that in mind when we're talking about this. We are slowly climbing. I'm trying to get eye level. I did get a cool trinket, the Domination trinket from... What's going on? Whoa. Hold on, let me just get back in there. There we go. Something was wrong there. I got the Domination trinket from my cache, and I got the Soli's Secret Technique, which I can upgrade. Actually, a great trinket to have. This Domination one is actually pretty interesting. I've been putting runes on myself. You get the first rune is Haste. The second rune is Versatility, which is interesting, to say the least. I think that the next one is Crit, and it puts a bleed on you, which I don't like that at all. So I just kind of chill with the 2 runes. Anyway, I'm trying to get eye level on my Hunter. It's just hard. Like, you know, we're working on it. But I do have a 2-piece beast. I still have some green items, like my chest and my gloves. Oh, my God, I need those upgraded. So I'm working on it. I'm doing some Mythic Plus, trying to work on my rating on this guy, and also just trying to get gear. You have to get enough rating so you can actually upgrade the gear as well. We're working on all that stuff, okay? So don't worry about that. Let's look at the build. Before we jump into the video, let's take a look at the build. What did we run? We ran Necro. So I've been running through all the different covenants with Hunter, trying to just give an honest opinion on how well does this perform in Mythic Plus. How good is this in general? Necro is generally something that people don't play a lot of. And what is it? What do you even get for it? Well, you get Death Chakram, of course, which is this chakram that bounces around and hits multiple targets. If there's only one target, it will just continuously hit that same target over and over again. They've buffed it in the recent patches. 9.25, they buffed it. And it makes them take 10% more physical damage from you and your pet for 10 seconds now, which is really interesting. You don't do a ton of physical damage on Survival Hunter, which is another interesting thing. Like, you know, these are not... This does fire damage. This does do physical... No, this does fire damage as well. Oh, no, sorry. The bleed is physical, but this is fire damage twice. This is fire damage and then a bleed. This is fire damage, and then you just get the resets on kill command. So again, this is like fire damage, nature damage. Now you're finally down here at kill command, you get down to some actual like physical damage. So, and all my other physical damage is down here. So it's just not like that extra bonus that you get for Death Chakram is not that insane, because you don't do a lot of physical damage on, especially not with the tier set bonus, which is all about bombs, and they do a lot of fire damage. So maybe a slightly misplaced, you know, thing here. I don't know how else they could have made it better. They could have just made it so you do 10% more damage in general. That would have been actually really good instead of 10% physical damage. So anyway, not a big deal. But the big bonus about being Necro is this. Up to 2 targets hit by Death Chakram also have Explosive Shot put on them. So you get 2 explosive shots. And Explosive Shot, as you can see, was my top DPS button here. My second highest, sorry, right behind Wildfire Cluster. Explosive Shot was right there. It does fire damage. Another interesting thing to know is that Explosive Shot is a focus spending ability. It's a Marksman Hunter ability, and it spends focus. Look at this. It costs 20 focus, and it does fire damage to all enemies within 8 yards. All enemies. So it's uncapped AoE. It is reduced beyond 5 targets, sorry, but it is kind of uncapped in that sense. it is a focus spender, which is really important to talk about because of Survival's mastery. Mastery for Survival Hunter says that you and your pet's focus spending abilities deal more damage. So your mastery on Survival Hunter is actually buffing a Marksman Hunter ability that you're getting because you have the Death Chakram applying those explosive shots. So you get the explosive shots for free. They do a lot of damage, and the more enemies you can try to put into your explosive shot window, the better. Being a +10 dungeon, we get all the relics and the automas on the boss fights, which means you have an additional target to put that second Death Chakram on. If you only have one target, Death Chakram will only put one explosive shot out. If you have 2 targets or more, then you'll get both of these both of the explosive shots out. So that is the one disadvantage to this thing, is that if you're fighting like one enemy, it's really bad for this build. So generally speaking, that doesn't happen in higher end Mythic Plus. You're always fighting more than one enemy, but that's just a little thing to note. So of course, we're running Wildfire Cluster, which you're not really going to ever deviate from this. This is just the absolute best legendary out there. So other than that, let's take a look. I do have my 2-piece tier set, which says, oh, it changed this back for some reason, which says that when Kill Command resets, is a 40% chance to make your next Wildfire Bomb incur no cooldown. I talked about that in my last video. The incurring no cooldown does not mean that it resets the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb. You actually have to be careful that you don't use both charges of your Wildfire Bomb, or else this tier set bonus essentially doesn't do anything for you until you get the cooldown of that bomb back. Then you spend it, and then it doesn't incur a cooldown. So I'm sure you guys understand that at this point. Let's look at my talents. We ran the similar setup as before. This will almost never change. I did talk about maybe experimenting with this row in my last video because I just don't like Tip of the Spear. It's like the best talent in this row because we're focusing so much on throwing bombs and pressing Kill Command, but I just don't like this row in general. But anyway, Camouflage is actually really important this week because of bursting. Make sure you take this to heal after every single pack. It's really important, in my opinion. It's also just a really good stealth tool, of course. You don't need to get stealth pots. Other than that, we're running Plague Divisor Marileth for the extra mastery bonus as well. You see we have 26% mastery right now. If you hit Fleshcraft, it goes to 32. So now we're doing 32% more damage with our focus spending abilities, which is like Raptor Strike, Carve, and of course the explosive shots that we're getting from Death Chakram. That's really the biggest bonus that we're getting there. So mastery is not a really great stat to invest in because you're really mostly focusing on your bombs, but it's an interesting bonus to specifically the explosive shot, which you can see did a lot of damage here in this dungeon. So that's the build, basically. In a nutshell, those are the conduits that I ran. We did run the Death Chakram one, and then Kill Command, and then we had the Raptor Strike one. So this does generate a bunch of focus for you as well, Death Chakram, which means it might lend you more towards a Mongoose Bite build, but you're not really going to have time to press Mongoose Bite, man. You just don't, right? And that's the sad part, because you're pressing Kill Command and Wildfire Bomb like so often because they're resetting each other. I don't know. I do want to experiment with Mongoose Bite, and I'm going to give that another run. But overall, the general sort of feeling about Necrolord is that it's okay, but I think it's going to struggle behind the other ones like Kyrian and Venthyr. But let's get to the VOD and check it out. I will show you some highlight moments from kind of like what went well in the dungeon. Sorry, I can't talk right now. What actually went well in the dungeon, and some tips and tricks in general. So we've started the dungeon. We're killing this guy, and then we pull into this guy. One important thing to always know, and I'm going to continuously stress, is that you need to use Freezing Trap. It's such an important cooldown. You're going to see me use it on this guy right here, right in front of you. Watch him. He starts to do his, like, Fungal Storm in, like, 2 seconds here. Here it comes. Fungal Storm right here. I'm going to just throw a trap under his feet and stop him from doing it. Boom. See the Freezing Trap animation? It's so brilliant, guys. This is an instant cast, ranged, interrupt, mini stun. Like, it just does all those things. Obviously, he's going to break the Freezing Trap in 1 second because we have 3 dots rolling on him. But, like, oh my god, this thing is such a good... It's a 20-second cooldown. Don't forget to use Freezing Trap, man. It's really, really good. Our damage here is, like, okay, it should be higher, but we did get big damage out of our... We actually beat, you know, the other hunter and the warlock. Remember, we're only 236. Like, we literally have no gear. So, our Death Chakram is down for this pull. It'll come up near the end of it. So, we're just relying on our base kit here. But, again, we're up to, like, 11, 12k DPS right here. Pretty solid. Again, we use our stun this time on the Fungal Stormer. You can see that. So, you can essentially alternate between, like, stunning and using Freezing Trap to interrupt stuff. Death Chakram is off cooldown. We're going to use it. Right now, we're doing 10.5k, 10.6, 12.2. It just jumps right up. That's how much damage Explosive Shot is doing. Like, it just hits really, really hard, and I love it. And there's very few moments, honestly, where you have less than 2 targets in a dungeon. So the tank and healer did a really fantastic job dealing with bursting. They were actually new. The tank said he hasn't, and the healer said that they were both coming back to this dungeon after having not done it for, like, a long time. So, again, Survival Hunter just does a lot of damage on its own. Not that certain covenants aren't necessarily... Here's Freezing Trap once again. Boom. Not that certain covenants aren't necessarily better than others. Like, I think Kyrian is probably just the best one, and it's very, very, very good. Don't get me wrong, but generally speaking, Survival Hunter just pumps damage, man. It just pumps so much damage right now. It's crazy. This is a really dangerous, like, pack in bursting weeks, because you might pull, like, 10 or 11 of these things, and they die really quickly, which means you could just wipe. So that almost ends up happening here for us. Another thing to talk about is the Automa with the Death Chakram is insane because it's only a 45-second cooldown. And so, like, you just get the whole thing back, which means you get 2 more explosive shots potentially. Getting the cooldown on Death Chakram is really, really it's really fundamentally good. Like, because you're such a low cooldown in general, you're gonna be using it all the time. And if you get it back, you can see it coming back right now. I almost have it back again. I just used it a second ago, and then boom, I used it again right here. You can see the explosion go off. We're kind of keeping up in damage, but we're not going to be the absolute best here. But you can just see it is really strong for AoE packs. And if we pulled huge AoE packs, which you can't really do this week because of bursting, then you'd be able to get more damage out of it because it does have that uncapped AoE. Obviously, past 5 targets, it's doing reduced damage, but it's a huge amount of damage. So, like, if you could pull 20 guys in together, then you would just get tremendous value. Like, if you pulled 20 guys together with and you got to cast Death Chakram twice on that pack, you would do insane amounts of damage. Like, it would be absolutely crazy. So, is it better than Kyrian? Like, probably not. Probably not. But it might be competitive, actually. If I had my 4-piece here, you might actually be able to see me compete with Hawkeyes a little bit more. There's some pulls where we're getting close to him, but just generally speaking, we're not that close. So let's get to Globgrog. I always struggle with that boss names. So generally speaking, on higher keys, you're going to pull that red slime down the hill. You're going to pull him all the way up here, and then you're going to drop the pool somewhere convenient, and then you're going to lust. You're going to have like a bunch of haste, right? We're only doing a +10 here, and the Pally and the Druid, we're just coming back to the dungeon, so we didn't end up doing it there. So that's fine. But you can see our damage is actually okay. We're doing 8k, like, single target, basically, as on 236 eye level. So one important thing for you to do as the hunter is to use Freezing Trap on the big slime, right? Very, very huge. I just throw it down there. I get him. We do Entangling Roots as well. We have 2 hunters here, meaning we could just continuously trap slimes, as you know, if we happen to get a second slime. This is a tyrannical week, so if you had a higher key, you might have to have a sort of a backup plan on what you're going to do. Of course, for every Plague Stomp, you want to use Harpoon. Watch this. You just Harpoon back in instantly. Always do that every time. Have Harpoon ready to go. It's really, really good. There's no real ability to get multiple targets hit with Death Chakram here, because you want to keep all the slimes away from Globgrog. Globgrog. I'm saying it wrong. Globgrog. You always want to keep the ads away, so you just have to use Death Chakram on cooldown, and unfortunately, there's a Harpoon again. You don't end up getting an extra explosive shot from your Death Chakram, so kind of unfortunate there, but
Nice.
That's the way bosses go in general. This is bad on bosses. It's not as good on boss fights because after all the automas go down, if you're on a tyrannical week, the boss is going to last a lot longer. So it's just, yeah, that's a really tough one. It doesn't have as much value there. So let's move forward. We're going to get to 1425. I'll just show you. I don't think there's anything important to show you here. Let's go to 1425. So on higher keys, you're going to kill this pack first, and then you're going to go back and kill this triple pack here with the red slime, and then you're going to pull the boss into where the red slime is, right? I'm sure you guys know that strategy. We weren't doing that, so I just made sure to come back here and fleshcraft on this to get the haste buff for everybody. So now I have 2 haste buffs. I have the one that you get just for like walking past. If you're a Necro person, if you just walk past the red slime, you get the buff. And then if you fleshcraft on it, you get another buff. So you can see on my bars up here, I have the double haste buff right here. So, but on top of that, if you pull the red slime into the boss, you can stand in the red goo and get an additional haste buff. We just weren't doing that, so that's fine. I understand that that's the strategy you want to employ. I'm going to show you here what not to do on this boss fight really quickly. This is kind of a teaching moment here because the tank just didn't quite understand what to do, which is fine. I guess he was just coming back to the game. So the slime will end up spawning here, and the boss just kind of pulls everything together. You see this purple slime. This purple slime reduces the damage taken for everybody by like 1,000,000. You need to pull this slime away from this bomb so you can actually kill this bomb. Number 2, Burning Strain is going off. Dr. Ickus will cast Burning Strain if there's no tank right next to him, like taunting him and getting aggro. So that needs to be kicked as well. The tank didn't realize what was going on here, obviously. So this slime is just chilling here, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I thought the tank was going to move the slime, and he just didn't. And
we're going to kill the slime.
We end up dying here.
Because the tank's not going to move it for some reason.
Burning Strain's going off again. The tank just clearly didn't understand what he was supposed to do here, and that's okay. So then the bomb goes off. I turtle like 1 second too late. Yeah, I waited. So that's okay. We end up wiping, and we do it again. We'll go to 1825. This is when we get back and get this boss fight going. So how you want to do this boss fight is you want to get the Automa for sure. This is where it's good. We've used Death Chakram already. Our bombs have gone off, and then we're going to get to cast our Death Chakram again once this Automa dies, which is really powerful. So you can see the Automa is dying right now. We have 30 seconds left on Death Chakram. See that?
I think we didn't lust.
30 seconds left. It'll go all the way to 0 with this buff. And then we can use it on the bomb that's coming up. And there, Death Chakram's back. Harpoon to get across. Here comes the bomb.
Yeah, I will here.
I press Lust here. I forget where it is, but get Death Chakram out. And you're doing lots of damage, so it's really good. Again, our item level's quite low, but that's what you want to do on this fight. He wasn't kicking Burning Strain once again. The tank was just new, and he was having a rough time. But we do end up getting this boss fight down. And we move on to the next section here. No, I do want to talk about this for a second. So we end up killing this next section, and then we go into the middle. Man, Hunter has so many good interrupts. Again, you have a stun, you have a freezing trap, and you have an interrupt. And they're all, like, really good. So I'm going to kick the big guy here. He's going to start casting Creepy Crawly right now. Creepy Crawlers. I'm going to kick this with my kick. Then I'm looking at the Defender. The Defender's right here. Round 2. Here, look, here's the Defender. Bulwark of Maldraxxus. I'm going to stun that. Boom. I use my Intimidation. Now I still have Freezing Trap in case something else goes off. These guys die really quickly because it's not a Fortified week. But the tools, man, you have so many tools as a survival hunter to just, like, influence.
Nice, that was good.
To influence all the interrupts and make sure that nothing is going off. Like, it's really easy to do that. So make sure you're using all those tools. Once again, we come down here and we start killing. These stealth things go off, but that's okay.
Can't tell if we pulled that slime or not.
This next pack, again, there's a Defender in the middle here. He's going to start doing his Bulwark of Maldraxxus right here. I do Intimidation once again. I have my stun back off cooldown, so I just press Intimidation. It's only a 1 minute cooldown on your stun. Now, we don't have an AoE stun like Shaman does, but the stealth things get a couple of their casts off here. The Bulwark, I think, comes back down again. We just kill him. Not a big deal. On the next pack, I end up using my Freezing Trap once again. I'm going to show you that in a second. Death Chakram's back. So again, you want to start with all your Serpent Stings. Get those out.
Yeah.
Death Chakram. Here's Bulwark. I throw Trap. See the Trap circle here? Here it comes. Boom. Trap breaks it, and you're good to go. So, again, so much value in a 20-second. It's a 20-second interrupt. Like, it's insane. It's just really, really good, man. It's really, really good. 20-second, like, stun, essentially. So, we're doing okay damage here, but let's get to the boss fight. Venomblade. Nothing really crazy to talk about here. I think you can tar trap where the ads spawn, if I'm not mistaken, and they will pop out. We did get Woe, which I initially thought Woe was like a really bad idea, and I think on a higher key it would be, but it allows us to actually run around and get to the allies, like the little spider dudes that are hiding really quickly. Like, watch this right here. We can just run around.
That was actually kind of interesting here. I didn't even think about it.
And pick them all up, which is kind of neat. And
I don't think you
also,
probably want it, but
damage reduction on this fight is actually okay. The people who
have
have to run out and get like they get focused with this purple circle thing on higher tyrannical keys, that does a ton of damage. So like, Woe's not the worst thing here, but I think generally you want to get like Vi on this fight probably, or but Vi is also really, really strong, especially on tyrannical weak. So we do end up getting Venomblade down, and then we pull into the final corridor here. The boss fight. We're going to Lust P2 because Lust isn't even back yet. We have Vi running right now, and I think we get... I wanted to get but we end up getting Woe, which I'm like... Anyway.
No. I guess Woe is okay, but man, I want a cooldown reduction.
I think Woe is actually interesting on this fight as well, because people are so bad at doing the tentacle thing. But at this point in the expansion, the damage reduction is also actually okay for Infectious Rain. But generally speaking, on like higher keys, you should be able to deal with that. You know, the healer and the tank should be able to deal with that kind of stuff. People should be able to use personal cooldowns. If you're like Dark Iron Dwarf or Dwarf racial, you can just get rid of the disease that gets put on you. Lots of classes can just get rid of diseases as well from Infectious Rain. So it's one of those things where taking Woe is kind of cool because you get damage reduction, and maybe that's exactly what we needed in this particular group. But I think generally speaking, you don't want to do that. But
there we go.
We get through phase 1.
That first phase.
And we get through all these guys. Phase 2, we pop Lust. I have Death Chakram back up. I'm not sure if I use it here. I do, actually. That's unfortunate. I should have waited like 2 seconds for the ad to spawn. I only get 1 explosion there. So if I waited for the second ad to spawn, I would have got 2 explosions, which is double damage, essentially, right? So anyway, this is like the weakness of Necrolord, that there's moments like this where it's like you wish it just was coded better. But anyway, we do end up getting Stradama down. And there you go.
Nice.
I don't know why I got Keystone Conqueror. I already have all these things done, so I didn't even do a 15, but I got 154 rating.
154 rating. That's awesome.
So let's look at the over-under here. Let's take a look at the damage. So again, you're going to see that Wildfire Cluster will always be at the top. Explosive Shot is like just does so much damage. It's so much damage. It's insane. And you can see, I think if I Fleshcraft right now, it goes from 4578 to 4788. See how the damage changed there? So it does do more damage. It does about 250 more damage for each target that's hit. So it actually ends up being a lot more damage, just with a little bit of mastery that you gain. But that's the breakdown there. What do I think about Necrolord? I think that it's hard to tell right now because I don't have any gear, and I don't have my 4 set. Next week I'll have my 4 set, and I'll try and get some more gear for you guys. But it's really tough to judge these things when you're at 231 eye level. I thought it was actually higher than that, but anyway, it's kind of tough to like make a judgment call on how good this is when the item level is so low. I do actually think that Necrolord is decent. I don't think it's that far behind the other ones. I think that Kyrian is probably still going to be #1 for you, and if you go Necrolord, you're going to do like less damage than Kyrian overall.
But I do think that Necrolord is pretty close in general to the top of the heap. I don't think it's like thousands and thousands of DPS below the other guys. I think it's actually pretty close. You'd be surprised. If I had enough gear, you would be surprised how much damage that did. So I'm going to stay tuned for future videos where I get more gear on this, but generally speaking, the build is really fun. It's very easy to execute. There's nothing to think about. You just throw out your Death Chakram when there's at least 2 targets to hit. That's what you want to do. You don't ever want to really cast it if there's only 1 target, if you can help it. But on Tyrannical Week, that's a little bit tough to do. But anyway, that's the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do want to make a little plug down below. Check the description box down below for the Patreon poll link. So far, we've got 8 people who've said they're willing to sign up for a Patreon if I make one. So I do think that actually we are going to go ahead and make one very soon, but I do want to keep the poll up in the bottom of these videos and get a sense for how many people in the community would be willing to support me on Patreon. That would be just amazing, guys. Like, honestly, I would just love it. It would be the best thing ever. It would really help me to be able to do this more full-time. If we get enough people supporting it, then I can absolutely just commit 100% to doing this full-time. And that means better videos, more videos, higher quality editing and content in terms of how I'm making these YouTube videos, more Twitch streams, and of course there are going to be Patreon rewards that we're working on behind the scenes right now. So if you want to support me on Patreon, check out the poll and just let me know that that's something that you're interested in, and then we can move forward in a couple of weeks when the poll closes. We'll take a look at how many people are there, and we'll probably get it started. So I just want to make a little plug for that. Check it out in the description down below. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching these videos. Thank you for liking. Thank you for all the comments down below. Let's keep those conversations going. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button. And until the next time, we'll see you.